Alright, Shalom again. Before I start this video, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Kakutash. Alright, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahushai, Brakata Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim. Kakutash. Alright, I'd also like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. And I also like to give a sincere salutation out there unto you, Akim, and unto you, Takim, now to teaching this word in sincerity and faith. Alright, to you, I say Shalom. I'd also like to give a sincere Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, you sincere Akim and Aquai, that watch our videos. Alright, the name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, pertaining to the Paleo Hebrew, and his name means he exists. He's existing with the Ancient of Days. The name is only begotten Son, Yahshua, Lord, and calls Jesus the Christ, which the Lord Jesus broke it down to a Latin word. How can that be the name of Hebrew Messiah, which the Bible speaks about? If that is a Latin word, okay, his name is Yahshua, which means he saves, he delivers. Okay, when you call for your power, you must say Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Ba meaning in, Ha meaning the, Shem meaning name, Yahushua, because scriptures say that Yahushua is the way, the truth, and the life, that no man can come to the Father but through him. Okay, today's lesson is going to be going into how the United States is unveiling new technology, such as robot warships that can fire missiles. One of the U.S. Defense Department's two prototype robot warships just fired its first missile. The military on Friday hailed the test launch of an SM-6 missile from the new unmanned surface vessel Ranger, sending off the California coast as a game changer. It's one thing for an unmanned vessel to launch a missile, however, it's quite another for the same vessel autonomously to find and fix targets. The real game changer will come when Ranger or another USB plugs into a wide range of command and control and data network when that works in the stress of battle. The Navy for years has been signaling for its intention to supplement, if not partially replace, its traditional manned warships with large numbers of inexpensive USVs. The tentative fleet plan that the administration of President Jim Crow released in June proposes to add 77 to 140 unmanned ships and submarines to a long-term force of between 321 and 372 manned vessels. And I'm just saying this as a man, but I could perceive it that military officials and higher up officials will be able to control these submarines and ships through the power of the RFID microchip, okay, or from a computer somewhere. To that end, the Pentagon Strategic Capabilities Office has acquired the two prototype USVs and is planning on buying two more before handing the program over to U.S. Navy in 2022. So, the question is why are they unveiling this now? And why are they telling us they have all this technology and the capability of building all this technology? Because they know how close we are, how close and imminent World War III is. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. If you go to that word woe, alas, woe, grief, destruction. Okay? Woe means great destruction that's coming, okay? And we know that great destruction is coming pursuant to Joel chapter 3, verse 2, World War 2, or 7, verse 1. For behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, which is Yahweh and Jerusalem. Okay, going into it. Jerusalem. Yeah. I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Yasharah, which Yasharah is a people before a place. For my heritage Israel, they're not talking about the damn rats that are in the land, because if you go to the scriptures, to Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, it talks about, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and they're not. Okay? It's not talking about those damn rats, the Khazars, those Edomites in the land. Okay, it's talking about you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. Okay, let me pull up the 12 tribe chart. Okay, it's talking about you people. So like, it's talking about you people, you so-called American blacks, West Indian blacks, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Guatemalans, Panamanians, Native American Indians, Seminole Indians, Colombians, to Uruguayans, Mexicans, and Argentinians. You to Chile. You are the 12 tribes of Israel. If your dad goes back to one of these so-called peoples, you are an Israelite. How do we prove that the lineage goes through your dad? Okay. Well, early Numbers 1 and 2. Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families by the house of their fathers, the numbers of their names, every male of their pope. Skip it down to verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, meaning that you are what your father is, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Okay, continuing on, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Continuing down to verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Be your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, until there cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh, shot. Let the heathen be wakened up to the valley and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I to judge all the heathen round about. Okay, and all this started in the Middle East when Israel, the state of Israel, that country controlled by the Emirates, attacked Palestine. They started attacking all these other countries. The beast of the flock. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh Shem Yahshua they have taken against Adawam, which is Edom in Hebrew, and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Tim. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And this is talking about the Israelis. Okay, the Lord is going to use Amalek, the so-called Jews, to start off the world war, and that's exactly what he's done, man. All these attacks and these wars on all these various different countries and all these threats, all this started when Israel started attacking Gaza and Palestine and these various other places. Okay, and he's going to draw out America, which is Bosra, the chief city of Esau, Edom, and that's going to draw out Moab, which is so-called Chinese, and the Russians, the so-called Gogamites, which those aren't the real Russians, those are Edomites that control that land. Okay, the Medes. All right, he's going to use Amalek to draw them out to start the Third World War. Okay, and not only that, these damn devils also believe that they're going to be able to fight against Mike Allah and his angels in space. Okay, you know, the SpaceX Dragon, also known as Dragon 1 or Cargo Dragon, was a class of reusable cargo space in American. Hold on, hold on, Dragon spacecraft. SpaceX, here we go. Yeah. And I believe it was launched in 2021. Oh, this is not what I'm talking about, man. It was God, it was in March of last year. They launched a huge vessel into space, and it was called the Dragon. Okay, and it's very spiritual because the scriptures talk about how in Revelation 12 verse 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought his angels. Man, Salakia, Lord willing, I'll be able to find it in a later lesson. Verse 8, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now, who is the devil and Satan? Okay, let's talk about Esau, Edom. Now, how do we prove that? Let's go to Isaiah, the 14th chapter, start from verse 10. All all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. The worms spread under thee, worms cover thee, the wiles cover thee. Okay? Precept will be Nahum 3 and 16. Thou hast multiplied thy mercies above the stars of heaven, the cankerworm spoileth and flieth away. Okay? This is talk about America. Okay? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. Okay? America is being brought down and is being corroded. Okay? The infrastructure of America is crumbling, and we see that now, man. That's why they're trying to crash the dollar, bring in this new world order so they could bring in the chip and try to bring in the Great Reset, the one world order, okay? But see, when Yahushua comes back and establishes his reign and kingdom over the world, that's going to be the true world order. Okay, Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And this is talking about Esau Edom, okay? He was ascended to heaven. Let's talk about his spacecraft and everything. And I was on my throne above the stars of the guard, okay? The Israelites, okay? He's trying to exalt his throne above us, okay? But see, he's not going to be able to. He's going to be brought down. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall nearly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of the prisoners? All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one on his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword that goes down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under foot. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed the land and slain thy people. The seed of the evildoer shall never be renowned. Okay? How do we know this? With the book of Obadiah. Okay? But I'm still going to prove that that scripture is talking about Esau, Edom. Okay, so let's go to Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith to this heart, who shall bring me down to the ground. Okay? The Caucasus Mountain is a mountain range in the intersection of Europe and Asia, stretching between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Okay? This is where Esau Edom used to dwell. Okay? The Caucasus Mountains. Okay? That's why he calls himself Caucasians. Okay? Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Okay? Edomites, the nation is people who were descendants of Esau. He founded the country, so his name is equated with Esau Edom. The country was called Seir or Mount Seir, which was the name of the territory in which the Edomites lived. Okay? Mount Seir is the ancient and biblical name for a mountainous region stretching between the Dead Sea and the Gulf of Aqaba in the northwestern region of Edom and the southeast of the kingdom of Yahweh. It may have also marked the older historical limit of ancient Egypt and Canaan. Okay? They said the Dead Sea. Okay? It's not showing the names of the seas, but one of these is the Dead Sea that stretches through the Caucasus Mountains. Okay? That's proven that these people are the Edomites. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, this will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh Shai. And if we go down to verse 15, it also proves how the seed of the evildoer shall never be renowned. For the day of Yahweh Shai is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. The reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and that's talking about Israel. And there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possession. The house of Jacob shall be a fire, the house of Joseph a flame, the house of Esau for stubble. They shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. Okay. Ultimately, all these wars, everything is leading up to the great war between Yahushua and Esau, Edom. Hold on, before I get to that, though, I'm also going to prove how Esau, Edom is the so-called Caucasians, Edomites, that the Bible speaks of. Verse 6, Revelation chapter 6, verse 4, there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Okay, now let's go to the precepts that it gives. Okay, Esau talking about a red horse. That's the red is the horse is symbolic of a person. Now red. Who do we know that is red? If we go throughout all history, the so-called white man is the only person that goes around that's taking peace from the earth. He goes to random continents, he colonizes them, he kills people, and forces his way of life upon people. Okay, Genesis 25 and 25. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Now let's go to Genesis chapter 27, verse 41. Genesis chapter 27, verse 38. Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac, who we know in the reincarnation is Yahushua, pursuant to Matthew 1 and 1, his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. Yep, the Edomites currently have the best place of everything. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that shall break his yoke from off thy neck. Okay, and Esau hated his brother Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. Which brings me to Zechariah 11 and 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. They that sell them say, Blessed be Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, for I am rich, and their own shepherds feed them not. Okay, go back to Revelation 19:11. This is what all these words and everything is leading up to. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And how do we know this is talking about Yahushua? Well, it said a flame of fire. Let's go to Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. His head and his eyes, his head and his hairs were white like wool, and as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, they burned in the furnace, and his voice the sound of many waters. Okay, and when it goes into name, it's talking about a noma, which is a title, a name, literally or figuratively, authority, character, authority, like a title, an authoritative title. Okay, verse 13, it was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. His name is called the Word of God. Verse 14, and the armies which are in heaven follow him upon white horses, which talk about chariots, clothed with fine linen, white and clean. And his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So with that, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Shem Rakakotash. I pray that that's edifying until next time I say Shalom.